Welcome to the Thankful Pumpkin tutorial. For this tutorial, we'll be making our thankful pumpkin. And I wanted to show you the one my son made. So as you can see, there's a size difference in pumpkins, and that's okay. I like what my son did because you can see a lot more of the words that he did, but I also think this one's cute too. So you decide how you would like that to look. You have this little package in your kit, and what I want you to do is take the paper piece, and I'm going to put mine on this clipboard so that I can write on it with you. And all I did was write words on this page that showed what I was thankful for. A big one was family. I'm going to put road trips on here because that was one that my son really liked. And when I had the kids here to do a class, there was a lot who said hugs. And I think that's probably because we've been missing out on so many hugs. So I think that one was really special. We also talked about love. And then some other things that we wrote were things like laughing. Can't write upside down. Laughing, singing, and there's really so many more. You just decide what you want to write, but one thing that I suggest is that you get a few words that are really important to you and then maybe write them over and over again, so that if your pumpkin does cover up some of those words, you will still have the other ones shining through. And you can see on mine, it's a little smudged and it's not as easy to read as my son's. So they will all kind of come out differently depending on how dark your paint is. I still really like the way this looks. I think it's cool to have the words sort of popping through either dark or light, because the main idea is that, you know, that there's some things that we're thankful for behind there. Okay, so I'm going to just write a few of these words over again. Family, hugs, and I'm going to put road trips again. And love. So when you have your paper filled the way that you would like, you're going to take, you have some glue in your kit, and we're going to glue onto the canvas board that you have. So what you're going to do is take your sponge, and I put mine on a plate, but you can dip yours right into the cup if you like. And you're going to dip your sponge, and then you're going to run it all along your canvas board. So then you have the whole thing with glue on it, and then you're going to do the same to your piece of paper. Run the glue all along, right in those corners so that it sticks down really, really well. And then you're going to line that up on your canvas board. Just smooth it out. And don't worry if there's wrinkles. It just makes it look, it gives it a little more character. I silly imperfections that happen because these really are unique, one-of-a-kind pieces because they're made by you. Then you're going to take your glue and you're going to rub it all over the top of that again. It's going to give it kind of like a little bit of a hard layer. Run it across. And sometimes when you do this, your pen will smudge, and that's okay too. Just adds to the character. If you want, you can take, if you don't like all these little bumpies, you could take something like similar to a credit card and run it across to smooth it out. I'm going to leave mine. I'm going to set that aside to dry. And I'm going to take the piece of paper that is the smaller piece of paper. This is what we're going to draw our pumpkin on. You'll notice that this is like a thicker piece of paper. It's a really nice piece of paper. It's actually a piece of paper that you could paint on. That's what I'm trying to say. You could paint on it, but we're just going to use crayon on it on this. So you have a black crayon, a green crayon, and an orange crayon. I would recommend that you use a pencil first and draw along with me, and then you can outline with your black. I'm just going to use the black so that you can see while I'm drawing. I think I'm going to turn it this way so that you can see. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw, so make sure you can see that. You're going to draw this shape. Come all the way down and all the way back up. And then you're going to come on the side and you're going to draw around. You're going to do that on both sides. And some people left their pumpkin just like this, and some added one more on each side. So you can kind of decide how you would like your pumpkin to look. And once you have this part, then you can draw a little circle up here. And this is going to be our stem, and I'm going to bring my stem down like that. And just kind of finishes it off. Some people actually added a leaf. You could do that too. When you have this looking the way you like, you can take the green and color in your stem. And just like when you've worked, if you've been to the art house and we've worked with pastel, you can run that crayon that green crayon right into the black, and it kind of creates a smudging and just gives it a little more definition, which is really pretty. So I'm going to do that all the way down. It's going to come down like this and like this. Stem. Then you'll take your orange and color in your pumpkin. And I'm a huge fan of outlining in black. I think when you do that, it just really adds definition and showcases your drawing. And also for younger kids, doing that outlining, it really helps them with their fine motor. They have to concentrate on following and tracing that line. And so even in my kindergarten class, we've only been in session for like 17, 18 days. And they are already just so good at outlining. And we outline in marker and then color in with crayon. And it really helps because sometimes you spend all this time drawing a picture and then you get to the coloring part and you just kind of color over everything and you can't really see all those details that you worked so hard on. So I really like to outline with marker, pastel, crayon, and especially with black. That is my favorite. And while you're coloring this, don't worry if you color out of the lines a little bit because we are going to be cutting this. And that's another thing I really like to do is, and I'll show you when I cut it out, is leave a touch of a border. But I like how this is coming out because I don't know if you can see that, but there's flecks of black through the orange because I'm purposely coloring over top of that black, and then it just kind of carries through. I'm just about done. All right, so we have our pumpkin colored, and it's time to cut this out. I'm gonna leave like a slight white border on here, and I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm not gonna worry too much about cutting right on the line. You can leave a little bit of a border. It's up to you how thick that border is. But I'm just gonna go around. Oops. Here we go. Cute little pumpkin. So then what I'm going to do, now that I have this done, I'm just going to set that aside. My glue is pretty much dry on my canvas, so I'm going to paint this. And in your kit, a lot of you have, there's some of you that might have like a light blue in there, but most of the kits have dark blue. And it works a lot better when you use a lighter color because you want your words to pop through even if they just pop through a touch. So I'm going to take some white and some blue, and I'm just going to lighten up my blue a bit. And I thought it would be fun to just do that so you could have a little bit of color mixing. Now that's a little bit too light, so I'm going to add a little bit more blue in there. And you can decide how dark or how light you want yours. I think that looks pretty good. And the other thing I have here is I got just like a little cup of water because this is acrylic paint. I put all acrylic paint in there in your kit because on your driftwood, the acrylic just shows up so much better than tempera paint. So I put a little bit of water so that you could water it down a touch too, because this will still be pretty thick. And I'm just gonna put like a little bit of water in there, and then I'm going to paint over my words. And so you can see that they're pretty hidden. So I'm gonna really make this stretch. And so I'm just gonna keep adding water and go all the way across. And bring it up. And then you can see the more that you stretch that paint out, then you can kind of see the words behind. Keep going. Some of you are going to want to see your words really well, and some are going to want to have your background darker. You can also take your sponge, if you have one side that you've glued, you can also kind of use it to lighten this, so then you can see it comes out a lot lighter. It's totally up to you. So I'm just going to run that across. That's looking really good. And then I'm just going to get a little bit more paint up here. And just enough so that I can run my sponge across. You can still see those words. And don't worry about getting, like, I kind of like how there's some white on there. Just sort of move my fingers here so that you can see this part. Oops, there we go. And then I'm going to come down here. Need a little bit more paint, I think. I'm going to put little touches there. And then run it across. Now the bottom, I wanted the pumpkin to be sitting on the ground. So in order to make brown, so I have a baby wipe. You can have like a little cloth. Maybe you're gonna have a little art cloth now. I just like to have that handy so that I can wipe my brush off. In order to make brown, you're gonna use some of your orange. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put like a little dollop of orange on my tray. And I'm gonna add blue to it until I get the brown I like. So I'm just gonna mix that together. And you can see that it's starting to make a brown. Actually, I really like that. I'm just gonna twist this because you want to make sure it's really mixed or else you're gonna get streaks, which isn't bad, but I just want you to be aware of that because it might not be what you're looking for. Okay, ooh, that's a nice brown. I'm just gonna turn my brush and make sure all the glue is off of it. So there's some brown. And you can just run that across the bottom. If you don't have any words there, you might just want it to be a really thick brown. Or you can add the water if you want to lighten it up. If you have words all the way down and you kind of want them to poke through, then you can add some water. I'm just going to even that out a bit. Okay, so I've got my ground, I've got my background. And now I'm going to show you what it's going to look like to set. You'd want to let that dry before you put yours on. But you can set your pumpkin however you want it, in the middle, on the side. I think that looks really cute on that side. So I'm going to put some glue on mine just because I want to do this for demonstration. Actually, I didn't give myself enough glue there, but what I'll do is I'll just stick that there because there's one last little step that I want to show you, but I'll just pretend that's glued down. So we got all that with the little words poking through and the pumpkin on top, and then you have a piece of paper like this, and I can see on mine that I really want the family at the top tip because I could put it up here. I am going to put it down below though, and I'm going to need to cut it down a bit because it's too thick. Some of yours it'll fit perfectly. That's just a little step that you'll have to decide. So I'm just going to do a little measure here, and I'm going to write thankful. Thankful, And remember, if you mess up, you can always use the other side. I'm gonna cut it just a touch again, and that will go right at the bottom. I'm sticking it on the paint, but you'll glue it. And there you have your thankful pumpkin. I hope you're having a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.